So this is page 100 from your book. A couple of interesting things here. This table really spells out how and why we want to know about soil separates and what soil separates are and what sand does and what sand can do and can't do. For instance, you probably know intuitively that in terms of holding water, sand is pretty bad at holding water, whereas clay can hold lots and lots of water, and you'll see through your reading and through these descriptions why that is. Part of it's because of the high surface area of clay. There's another aspect of the pore space being quite small with clay that lets it hold water really well. So take a look at this just so you know why we would care about some of the why would we care about the three soil separates that we have. The other thing I want to point out is this word here, this word colloids. You may not have seen that before. I'm sure you've dealt with it, and the reason I'm sure you've dealt with it is that milk is a colloid. And the reason I say that is because milk is, for instance, you've seen evaporated milk, or you may have heard of it, and it's a powdery substance. But if we add water to that, for instance, you get something that looks or approximates milk, and you have suspended particles in that milk. It's not just a mixture of powder and water. It's suspended. And so when you see milk, and when milk goes through processing, part of what it does is it takes those proteins that are making up milk and mixes them into that solution evenly. So you have a nice homogenized milk. That's why we do that. Milk is a colloid, so it's basically water and then all these proteins, and I hope you're not a dairy person, because I'm not a dairy person, so we'll just say they're proteins that are floating around in that water, fats and things like that as well. But you could look at a microscopic level at milk, and you could see some of the milk particles that are suspended, that are up in the solution. We have this term colloids, and it says fine clay-sized particles are so small they behave as colloids. They stay suspended in water, and it takes them a while to settle out of water, to come down to the surface and settle, or to the bottom and settle in water. So you'll see throughout this book that we call these colloids, and they have some really special properties that we'll learn in a later chapter. But I wanted to just address that word if you had never seen that word before.